Okay, so I'm going to give my full review on my Seiko SNK393. You can see the reference number down there. I love this watch. I think it's a really good size, a really good alternative. If your budget doesn't extend to over $10,000 for a 36mm Rolex Explorer, I think this is a viable option, and they can be had for about $100. It kind of gives you the look of it. Doesn't break the bank. So let's get this thing out of the box real quick. I already unboxed this watch on this channel, so I'm not going to go into a lot of, I'm going to keep this kind of short and just go straight into the review. But I just wanted to show, for those of you who haven't seen that video, I'll post a link of it and you can check it out if you want. So let's just go straight into the review. This is the nice pillow that it comes with. It's a nice Spartan, very basic Seiko box, but that's all you need, I guess. So let's start with the dial. I think the dial here is kind of like the star of the show, but let's just get the negative out of the way. Some people might complain that you really can't read the time very easily with this watch. I don't think I've never had a problem reading the time. I don't know where you're reading the time. You just move the watch a little bit and you catch a little light on the markers or on their numeral, and then you're fine. Also, there's a little bit of lume on the hands, which make it a little easier to read, in my opinion. It's not a puzzle or anything, it's just a watch. I don't find it very hard to read at all, to be honest. People that criticize it for not being able to read the time very easily on this watch, I guess that's valid, but I've never had any issues. It has the size and the kind of like the look of a Rolex Explorer, like I said in the beginning of the video, but you're missing the 9 Arabic numeral here, which the Rolex Explorer would have. But you have, obviously you have the 12 and the 6. Which I think, gives it a little bit of its own look. But this is very much its own watch. It's, I think this is a beautiful dial. Let's zoom in a little. The dial does have dimensionality to it and some contrast in the color. It has kind of like a more shiny black in the middle, in the very middle. There you have automatic and 21 jewels. You have some like lines and texture on the very outer ring of where the numerals are. I absolutely love the look of this watch. This watch has a hard licks crystal, so it's not a sapphire crystal, but again, this is a $100 watch. Even at retail, this is a $250 watch. You're not going to get a sapphire crystal at this price. And honestly, I've had, this is my 3rd Seiko, and absolutely no issues with hard licks crystal. It's much harder than mineral crystal. So there are no issues here. I've never had any issues with scratches or anything. I'm assuming, all crystals can be scratched, even sapphire ones, if you try hard enough. So just be careful with it, treat it nicely and you'll be fine. It would be really help the channel a lot if you can give this video a nice thumbs up. So I just noticed this watch, I don't know, maybe it came from the Middle East, but the alternate text, it looks like it's in Arabic, which I didn't know. It's still in English though. If I take it down, there it says Tuesday. The date complications are in negative, so the lettering is actually white and the background is black. I think that goes really well with the actual look of the watch. It makes one could make the argument that it makes it a little less legible, but I think it really complements the look of the watch very nicely. Keeps the dial nice and clean. You also have a nice little like bezel around the date complication there, which is nice. You got the Seiko symbol and the Seiko and the Seiko 5 symbol there. You have the nice little arrowhead at the seconds marker, which is nice, and little squares of lume on each marker, along with some lume on the hands as well. So not the strongest lume, but that I've had and that I have of any watches in my collection. So the case is nice and polished. I think Seiko does a really nice job given the production numbers that they have. And making nice polished and very smooth cases. Their polishing is really good given the price point of these things. You have an exposed movement in the back, so if this is your first mechanical watch, then you do get a nice glimpse of the movement in the back there, which is beating at 21,600 vibrations per hour. This movement is a Seiko 7S26, which is a workhorse movement. These things are known to last a long time without servicing. Don't quote me on it, but I've heard, stories of over 10 years, and they run just fine. You put them on a time grapher and they're still within spec. you know, although spec, I think these are not cost certified or anything. The spec is quite, there's a quite margin in to be considered spec. So it could be like 30 seconds, within plus or minus 30 seconds or something like that. And it would still be considered within spec, 30 seconds per day. But yeah, you have the nice little signed rotor with Seiko there. It's, you know, probably hard Lex crystal display back here. So very nice. You have some hollow end links there. So a nice unsigned crown, which I think is okay at this price point. It's very easy to operate this watch. So here I just pulled it out for both clicks, and there you can set the time. If you just pull it out once, which is a little hard to do with since it's kind of on the smaller side, but if you pull it out once, you know, I can set the date, I can go up. If you go up there, I went to 30, and if I go down, I can go to Thursday. And I'm gonna pull it out all again, and obviously this movement is not a hacking movement, but it does have a little trick that if you go the opposite direction, it actually goes backwards. So if you really absolutely need to get it perfectly synced up, then you can, there is some little bit of flexibility. You see how it went back again. I guess probably the low point of this watch is the strap, is the bracelet that it comes with. It's not the highest quality. I do like the fact that it has a deployment clasp. It's obviously not milled, it's a stamped deployment clasp, but it's nice, has nice push buttons, and it has 3 levels of micro adjustability, which makes it very simple to size to any, you know, to fit your wrist perfectly. You can see that it's, you know, you can definitely hear that not the most refined bracelet. So my plan is to take this off a strap, put it on a strap. I do also want to mention that it doesn't lie flat. So it just, if you set it down on the table, it looks like that. So I usually just kind of lay it on its side. It just, you know, it just doesn't lay flat. There are some positives with this bracelet. It's very easy to size. A lot of people complain about the sizing links that are used here in Seiko. I think they're very easy to use. If you have the right tool, it's very, very easy to just pull them out and just size it really quick. I think the bracelet does have a nice, you know, Jubilee-ish style look to it, which, you know, if you're interested in just having it on the bracelet, I don't think it's a bad option. I can't appreciate, but my plan is to put it on a strap. I actually bought this nice, it's a goatskin, like light leather brown strap, which I'm gonna put it on. And I'll show you guys how it's gonna look. I think it's gonna look awesome with this watch. Look at that. So I'll show you how that looks in a second. I also have this some nice black strap. I'll show you what that looks like as well. So this is how the watch looks on my 7¼ inch wrist. It's you know, it's not the biggest watch on earth, but I think it you know, everybody's gravitating towards smaller watches nowadays. Now that, you know, Rolex obviously put out the 36mm Explorer, you know, and you know, Tudor has a nice black bay 36mm, which is quite nice as well. I think it's a nice classic, you know, has nice classic proportions, a very restrained lug to lug. I think it's about 42mm, which I'll confirm in measurements in a second, and the case size is about 37mm as well. So yeah, I think this watch is a bargain, and it's very nice. So I just put the black strap on this thing, and I think it looks awesome. This is a Fluco strap. They're made in Germany, and they're really high quality. I'm going to give you a wrist shot now, but this is, I think that looks so good. There's a wrist shot with the black strap. I'm going to go ahead and put the brown strap on there, or light brown strap on, and see what that looks. I think it's going to stay in the light brown strap because black strap's a little formal for my attire. So, but I think it looks great. If you like the nice black strap look, then this is I think it works really well with this watch. So this is the strap I ended up choosing. Ultimately, this is what's going to stay on the watch. It's a very light, almost tan leather strap. So yeah, I think it works really well. It's nice and casual, and you know, not super formal, and I think it contrasts well with the dial color. But yeah, that's just, I think that's what I'm gonna stick with for now. It might even change over time, maybe get a little darker when it ages. So we'll see how it goes. So I'll put it on my wrist now. This is another Flugo strap. It's goat skin. I don't know the exact color, but I'll put a link of these in. I bought them in Holben, so I'll put a link of them in the description if you're interested. So. All right, so let's get some measurements here real quick. See how it's standing up. So we got about 98 grams in weight. So very light watch with the bracelet. Cool thing about this watch, you can just measure it at 3 and 9 because there's no crown there. Right at 37 millimeters, just under 37 millimeters right there, boom. It's also very thin. I'll show you. 10.3 millimeters of thickness, super thin watch. Let's give you a quick lug to lug here. About 42 millimeter lug to lug. So not the, you know, if you have an enormous wrist, even bigger than mine, I think it fits nicely on my wrist, but if your wrist is bigger than mine, 7.5, inches or more, you might, maybe it'll look a little small. You may fancy the SNK L15, which is this one. This is a little over 38 millimeters, so it might fit you better. You can kind of see there's a slight, they fit about the same. One funny thing about this watch, since they have the same movement and the case is smaller, the crown on this watch sticks out more than on this watch. So, kind of cool. A little easier to use this to operate this one because the crown is still hidden in my SNK L15. The strap size is 18 millimeters. I know that for a fact. It's very known. So 18 millimeter strap, I don't even need to measure it. So my final thoughts on this watch is, are you looking for an automatic watch for $100? It's hard to beat this one. If you like to look at the Rolex Explorer, but you don't have over $7 grand to spend on it, if you can get it at retail, that's what they cost. If you can't get it at retail, you're gonna spend way more than that. If you like to look at that, but you can't find one, this is a really good alternative, and I think if you put it on a strap like I showed you in this video, it really takes it up to the next level. Right? When you lose the cheaper bracelet and just embrace the beautiful case, the nice style, the beautiful finish, tasteful finish of this watch. So yeah, I'm gonna totally recommend this watch. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If you have any questions about the watch, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll answer them as best as I can. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.